Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're diving into something truly radical. We're constantly bombarded with the latest superfoods, new supplements, breakthrough treatments. But what if the most powerful tool for your biological health isn't something you add to your diet, but something you literally take away? Today, we're looking at the profound, heavily researched science of fasting.
Seriously, think about this for a second. What if the absolute best cure for chronic disease isn't a brand new pill, but simply nothing? I know, it totally challenges everything we assume about modern medicine, right? Our default is almost always to add a pharmaceutical. But top researchers and clinicians are actually finding that structured deprivation, basically just giving your body a break from constant digestion, might just be the ultimate reset button that our biology is literally begging for.
And man, do we desperately need that reset right now. Just consider the number 2. Right now, the average 45-year-old in the United States currently has 2 chronic conditions. 2. And it gets worse. By the time people hit 60, they usually have 3, along with a whole laundry list of daily medications. We're essentially treating the leading causes of death, things like heart disease and diabetes, by just escalating from one drug to the next. We're just managing symptoms. In essence, we're medicating people for their diets. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. The chronic disease epidemic. 2. Time-restricted eating. 3. The fasting mimicking diet. 4. Water-only fasting. 5. Targeting visceral fat. And 6. Your longevity protocol. Section 1. The chronic disease epidemic. The winter that never comes. You see, throughout human evolution, our bodies actually relied on the natural food scarcity of winter to hit the reset button on our metabolism. But in our modern world, that winter just never arrives. Instead, we're trapped in an endless summer. Our modern environment surrounds us with ultra-processed, highly palatable food literally 24/7. And research shows that the average person now eats across a 15-hour daily window. Think about it. If you start your day with a splash of cream in your coffee at 6 a.m. and you finish up a late-night snack around 9 p.m., that is 15 hours of constant digestive work. Because of this endless 15-hour summer of eating, our bodies are stuck in this constant, damaging state of insulin resistance, and it's absolutely wrecking our sleep quality and our metabolic health. Section 2. Time-restricted eating, the accessible baseline. This is going to be the easiest, most foundational intervention to finally give your systems a chance to rest. So, researchers have discovered something pretty fascinating. When you eat matters just as much as what you eat. And it's honestly totally counterintuitive to all the current diet trends. But skipping breakfast actually yields negative metabolic consequences. Crazy, right? On the flip side, early time-restricted eating, which just means skipping your evening meal and shifting your calories to the morning, perfectly aligns with our natural circadian rhythms. Clinical trials show that if you give 2 groups the exact same 2,000 calories, but one eats it all in the morning and the other eats it in the evening, the morning group actually loses weight and gets all these chronobiological benefits, while the evening group actually gains weight. But let's be real here, skipping dinner is a pretty tough social hurdle for most of us. If that sounds completely impossible to you, the experts agree on an incredibly powerful compromise. The number 12. A 12-hour daily fasting window is absolutely the safest, most scientifically validated starting point for literally everyone. If you finish dinner at 7 p.m., you just don't take in any calories again until 7 a.m. It's a baseline habit that centenarians have practiced for generations. Honestly, no physician is going to argue against giving your gut 12 hours of rest. And it yields really solid metabolic benefits without any of the negative side effects of extreme daily deprivation. Section 3. The fasting mimicking diet. A targeted intervention. Now, for those needing a little more than just a daily habit, this next protocol is designed to basically trick your body's physiology. Let's break down exactly what this is. The fasting mimicking diet is a 4 to 7 day plant-based calorie-restricted meal program. And what it does is biologically trigger your body's fasting response, but without requiring total food deprivation. Basically, you're eating very specific, low-protein, plant-based fats and nutrients, but your body genuinely thinks it's starving. Usually done just a few times a year, it forces your system into this incredible long-term anti-aging mode. It significantly lowers IGF-1, which is a major pro-aging growth factor, and it actually keeps it low for months. Plus, it powerfully restores insulin sensitivity, essentially shifting your body from a building mode into a deep maintenance and repair mode. And this quote perfectly captures exactly why fasting protocols are gaining so much traction right now. Let's start thinking about repairing systems and not just putting a Band-Aid on it. Unlike cascading pharmaceutical drugs, where a blood pressure pill causes a side effect that requires another pill, This protocol actually repairs the foundational metabolic issues. You aren't just masking high blood sugar, you are literally restoring your system's ability to process it. Section 4, Water-Only Fasting, the ultimate deep clean. This is the most radical intervention for severe chronic conditions. Now, the clinical timeline for this requires extreme precision. Day 1 involves a really strict medical intake, and crucially, a medication wean. Because fasting alters your physiology so rapidly, like your blood pressure plummets to normal levels incredibly fast, patients simply cannot safely be on certain medications while they're doing this. Then, depending on the severity of the illness, you enter days 5 to 40 of supervised water-only fasting. Patients consume literally nothing but water in an environment of complete rest. Finally, you have weeks 1 to 3 of gradual refeeding and recovery. Now, I have to stress, this intense process requires strict medical supervision, with twice-daily exams and lab monitoring, just to ensure absolute safety. To really understand the mechanism here, clinicians use this brilliant analogy. It's very much like when your computer becomes corrupted. You don't know exactly what's wrong, but you turn it off, you turn it on, and now it's working. When a patient undergoes a prolonged water fast, their body selectively eliminates excess sodium, rapidly mobilizes internal toxins, and literally unwinds disease states. It's like wiping the slate clean and completely rebooting your body's entire operating system. It sets a brand new foundation for health.
Section 5, Targeting Visceral Fat, Eating the Tumor. Okay, here is the physiological magic behind why fasting is so unbelievably effective. First off, we really have to understand what we're fighting here. Visceral fat is that deep abdominal fat surrounding your organs, and it acts like a hypermetabolic tumor, pumping out dangerous inflammatory products like IL-6. We usually tend to think of fat as just a cosmetic thing, right? Like something that just dictates how our clothes fit, but visceral fat is a highly toxic, active driver of heart disease, diabetes, and autoimmune conditions. It is essentially an internal tumor poisoning your system from the inside out. And this brilliantly illustrates the impact. DEXA scans performed on patients during a 2-week fast reveal a massive discrepancy. A patient might lose 20% of their total body fat, but a staggering 55% of their visceral fat. It turns out your body possesses an incredible intelligence. It mobilizes tissues in inverse proportion to their need. Because that visceral fat shouldn't be there in the first place, the fasting body preferentially targets and consumes its most toxic fat first. It literally eats the tumor to fuel itself. How amazing is that? Section 6, Your Longevity Protocol, the blueprint for daily life. So how do we take all this heavy science and actually apply it to our everyday lives? Well, here are the 4 core pillars you can start literally today. 1. Adopt a whole plant food diet, ideally SOS-free, which just means free of added salts, oil, and sugar. 2. Commit to that baseline 12-hour daily fasting window. 3. Engage in regular exercise. And 4, prioritize abundant sleep in a cool, dark room. And here is what you really need to take away from all of this. When you fast, yes, you lose fat, muscle fiber, glycogen, and water. But when you refeed using a clean, whole plant food diet, you regain the water and the muscle, but you do not regain that toxic visceral fat. You are systematically rebuilding a cleaner, highly optimized version of your own body. Which leaves us with one final provocative thought. Are you willing to simply stop eating for 12 hours a day to add years to your life? Think about it. It costs absolutely nothing. It requires 0 new pills, no expensive medical bills, and absolutely no complicated gadgets. It simply requires taking immediate control of your metabolic health through the power of strategic rest. I really hope this explainer empowered you to totally rethink your relationship with food and timing. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.